Well, Mark Wilbur, well, hello there, sir. How are you doing?
Hey Justin, how's it going?
Yep, pretty
Um,
good.
I'm doing all right actually. It's been pretty like crazy busy week, but other than that, all is good.
Hmm.
Weather is getting really nice here in Taiwan at this point.
Did you see the Democratic, no, sorry, the presidential debate?
I have not. I didn't even know there was going to be one, or I wasn't sure what the status was.
It was quite interesting. Um, you know
Oh
that
dear,
mental,
that's concerning.
well, you know that mental model in the Nugget Startup Academy that I've got called recursive quality factor.
Yeah, yeah. Is that what you called
If
it? It
you,
was like the recur. Yeah, I remember that.
yeah, recursive quality factor. So basically, if you walk into a restaurant and you look at the serviette, you guys got in America call it serviettes or napkins? What would you call it?
A napkin.
Yeah. Okay, the napkin. Well, if it's like a silk napkin, you kind of know that the rest of the restaurant's going to be quite good. And if you go into the restroom, that's going to be good. And you know that the food's going to be pretty good. Well, um, the way that this debate went, they had prearranged the rules, and the rules were that everyone was going to be quiet for 2 minutes and let the other person speak,
Okay.
and and then they were going to have open discussion. Well, through the entire debate, Trump basically completely ignored the rules and just
Oh,
spoke over Biden and the moderator was like fighting with
whoa.
Trump, and it was just like it was this crazy shit show. There's no other way to describe it, and he was just so unabiding by the rules, like so completely
Jeez.
ignoring. So what I wonder is that like a recursive quality factor? Like if he 100% doesn't recognize the rules in that scenario, is there other scenarios, including the real law, where he just doesn't recognize the rules? So
I would say, based on his whole university, very likely.
so anyway, I thought that was kind of interesting.
Yeah. I watched a little bit of the primaries, and that was pretty annoying to me. Like, just their format again. It was like a whole bunch of time wasted up front before they get started. And then once they get started, they only had really short times to talk, but they could also respond to each other. So as a result, like each person, says five things. The very worst of those five things gets amplified because
Yeah,
everyone wants to respond to
yeah,
it and attack it. And
yeah.
so it was just like this it would be like if you had Reddit, but instead of sorting by upvotes, you sort by flags, and that's how you decide like what content you get. And
That that's kind of interesting. That's a good
it
way of
was
putting it.
yeah, it was just frustrating. I didn't spend a whole bunch of time watching it, but
Well, I definitely recommend you should watch that debate because it's I think it's kind of
yeah, yeah,
it's
it's
it's historical, and I am so interested to see who wins if
is
Trump
it
gets
free to watch
reelected.
online?
Oh yeah, yeah, you can get it on
That's all
YouTube.
free to
Yeah,
watch
the whole
online.
thing. Yeah,
Okay,
Fox News did it, and the host was
not
a Fox News host, but he wasn't letting Trump get away with anything too much.
okay.
So it was
Yeah, that's not the watching the viewing assignment that I'm looking forward to, but I'll check it out.
I think just for what I mean, I think they're all going to be like you have to has to watch. But anyway,
Yeah.
um, so your goals, what were your goals?
My goal, well, I only had one goal. I
Okay.
focused down, and my
Nice.
goal, I was actually uh, really struggling and trying to reach it moments before we got on the call. My goal was to get 5 screencasts done. I have not hit it. However, I may hit it before I sleep. So
Mm. So
um,
close.
I
So how many did you
I
get done?
uh, I was well. I haven't. So here's the thing. I got the recording done for all of them, but I
Okay.
still have to finish editing 3 of them, and then I have to publish them and put them
I
on
see.
my site and add some text and all that stuff.
Okay.
But yeah, it's been pretty productive. And aside from just like the raw quantity, I've been, I'm also really trying to make the most out of this iPad with pencil that I bought for the purpose of making better videos and better tutorials. So,
Okay. Yeah.
you
That
know, I've
takes more
been
time.
I've been doing drawing drills, some like not tons and tons of time, but maybe like half an hour a day. And I've been, making sketches for explaining things about GraphQL, which is the premium series I'm doing, and like kind of looking at other tutorials and what they're doing and like what's really getting traction on YouTube. And kind of taking a little bit of inspiration from Julia Evans's books. I don't know, or her zines, as she calls them, wizardzines.com. Because I know, her educational business was already huge before she, joined any of the like online courses or anything I've seen. So, that's really about it. Just kind of struggling and trying to grow enough that I can renew my visa in April.
Oh man, yeah.
Yeah, my current growth rate is not enough. I gotta hit a higher gear.
So so it's about how much income you have.
There are different criteria you can hit. For me, probably the easiest is hiring 3 local employees, although that's also the most terrifying and like kind of difficult to say exactly what I would do. The one that's maybe the most viable is just spend 1 million NT, which is like 30,000 US dollars, through a Taiwanese company. So I basically have to get everything incorporated and spend that much before January or February in order
And
to
how
have
much how much do you have? Like, what's your percentage towards that goal?
I've spent 0 because I haven't incorporated it yet.
No, I know, but what I mean is like, how much do you have saved towards that goal? Like, is that a goal you're working towards?
I think that's the most likely one. I have 0 saved because
So you've got to get 30 grand between now and Feb.
Well, I was thinking like, is the fastest way to do that saving from my current MRR, which will not hit it, or is it to get the iPad, increase my production rate, really try to grow everything faster?
Yeah, for sure.
I think growing it faster, even if I don't hit that goal, I could still very likely, do some other kind of visa, or maybe, leave for a month and set up like a company with a branch office here or something, and come in on like an employee visa as an employee of my own branch office. There's like a branch representative route you can take, but either way, I got to grow the business faster. So
I'm just want to see something here.
That is the main stressor, and it's been gradually growing as time goes on.
What was the price point of the Phoenix Igniter? The target price point?
The target price is 240.
Okay, so 30,000 divided by 240. That's 125 sales.
Yeah, so far I've made 9, I believe, at a quarter of that price.
Again, like, I find myself like thinking, why I don't understand why you don't focus on this. But like, because between now and then, 125 sales is not hard for that Phoenix Igniter.
Yeah, it is. Yeah, it is.
Oh, it is?
I think it'd be very hard. Yeah.
Oh, okay. Tell me why.
It's not that big of a market. It may be easier to sell that than it is to sell Alchemist Camp, although it's hard to say because it's the different pricing model. With Alchemist Camp, the biggest influx of sales I've done has been like during Black Friday sales, or like I did one other like 30 by 500 style launch with like an email sequence and everything else. It was like limited duration offer. And those two were bringing in like 20-ish, 20, 25 people at like $150 for 1 year subscription. So, and which is a significant discount over the normal of 210.
How big do you think the market for Phoenix Igniter is?
I have no idea. It's really, I mean, it's like everyone who uses Phoenix would be, decently, like more than enough people, but people that are willing to spend anything, that cuts out a lot. And people that I can reach, like that also cuts out a lot. It's hard to say, but I think the most, well, at least as far as what I currently believe is the most efficient path is, like, I don't give up on Igniter by any chance. Like I am still like working on it and getting it closer to the beta, but I think I need growth in Alchemist Camp sooner and then Igniter, because everything I do that grows the YouTube channel, everything I do that grows, grows the reach of the website, everything else will transfer into or translate into people that very well may buy Igniter.
Got it. That makes sense. That makes
Yeah.
sense. So those people may, so you could think of it like, you do a really hard push on growing that as much as you can by, say, November, the end of November, and then
That's
you
close
push
to what I was thinking. Yeah.
and then you push like fuck on Igniter between November and Jan to get as many sales for that as you can.
Yeah. So like right now, I'm going probably 85% of effort on Alchemist Camp, 15% on Igniter, and I was planning on changing that maybe we're actually right around the end of November, like after Black Friday, and then at that point, maybe a little bit before, because I might want to have a special offer for Igniter on Black Friday, like get it to beta and then offer it, say, instead of what the price it would be later, I would offer a little bit cheaper on Black Friday.
Yeah.
And that's one way that's one way I've done sales before, is like I'm raising the price on the product and I just say, hey, if you buy before this time, you get it before the price goes up.
Yeah, when I think about it, that's really smart to build your audience, although I hate that term, audience, to get the people.
Well, I have good news for you. I've got a bunch of open tabs, bunch of topics.
Yeah.
And I have like another divisive, like indie hacker discussion for you.
Oh, she.
And it's right up. It's like your experience fits it perfecully.
Well, can I just say one? Can I just give you one piece of good news before we jump into that?
We'll hold that. We'll put that later.
It's just a quick piece of news. Mateo, Nugget star pupil. I mean,
yes.
you're also Nugget star pupil, but you're not really a pupil. You're kind of, it's a weird setup.
It is weird, yeah.
Yeah, but so we'll forget about that. But Mateo made his first sale with his app today, which is great. So his app is Heyhi.io.
Oh yeah, we talked about this last time.
Yeah. So Heyhi.io, and he made his first sale, and he's getting geared up to make more sales. So I think that is going to. I think the Mateo is going to really, as we did talk about last time. Mateo is how I'm going to fix the conversion issue I've got inside Nugget.
Just showcase everything he's done.
No, what I'm going to do is I'm going to do an interview like this with him, talk to him like this on Skype, and just talk from the beginning of his journey. How did he hear about Nugget, our first exchanges? He then did the boot camp. Then he signed up for the main academy. And he's basically pretty much followed exactly what I've said the entire time. And he's just executed it and done it well. And, now he's in a great position. So,
yeah, I think there's a lot of stuff where there are probably like a lot of ways to succeed.
Yeah.
But if you don't really believe who you're listening to, like say your fitness trainer or something, if you're like, well, I'll kind of do what they said about paleo, but I'm also going to, have like pizza right after I work out. So I like restock my muscles or something. Like if you kind of like mix and match, it's often a disaster.
I think that is a great way to put it. But even Nugget isn't that restrictive. I mean, what I say isn't that restrictive. It can just be boiled down to hyper-iterate as quickly as possible by talking to people and just finding out what they want and what they're willing to pay for. And then as soon as you get a fish that bites, it's like, okay, now hyper-iterate and expand on that and just grow from there. That's essentially it. But obviously there's more nuance, but I don't think it's super restrictive. But I think you're right. I think people do come in and they sort of have they take different approaches. Oh, maybe I'll do it through SEO. Maybe I'll do a blog,
Well, and also there's a certain kind of person which you're disproportionately going to encounter. That's like, maybe I'll sign up for 10 classes and try everything.
I got a really interesting cancellation email today.
Uh-oh.
This is one of the not very many people have ever cancelled Nugget or well the payments from Nugget. He didn't ask for a refund, but basically cancelled after 4 payments. So that's 4 months into it. Said I actually like the academy. I just didn't have time to commit because I was freelancing so much.
Mm-hmm.
Um, I didn't feel it was smart to continue paying installments now, but I probably should have just done the one-time payment in the beginning. So
That's interesting because I was actually just thinking today,
isn't that
like,
interesting? Yeah.
what am I going to cancel from Black Friday last year? Because I bought several things, or I bought a bunch of things, and some of them I haven't touched. Some of them I've gotten a ton of value out of, and of the ones I haven't touched, about half of them are one-time purchase. I'm like, yeah, I'll just look at that whenever. But about half are subscription, and I'm just thinking, like, well, do I want to cancel? I'm probably not going to cancel Laracast. Like, it's so cheap, and there's just so much good stuff to mine. I guess I do use a little bit, but some of the others, I might just cancel with the intention of maybe getting them again next year.
I found it interesting, and what I was thinking of doing was reaching out to him and saying, "Okay, you can have the one-time price. I've got your card, everything's set up. I'll upgrade you, and I'll just you've already paid off this much towards that one-time fee.
Might as
And then,
well. I mean,
yeah, might as well, right? See what he says.
seems like the ROI for you, like for your time doing that is fantastic.
Yeah.
So
Oh, okay. So
yeah.
that's that. So what's this divisive hacker news discussion?
Well, before we get to that, I want to share a few other things that I've
Okay.
got open here. Got to keep the YouTube watch time up. So got to mention something and not close the loop. Just no, it's the good stuff though. This is, let's see here. I'll open the entire desktop because if I just do one tab, then Zoom will change the resolution. Can you read this? It's my Gmail.
Kind of, yeah. Let me just
Okay.
see.
That's fine. I'll just
Yeah.
give a quick synopsis. We've got a new friend of the show, David Williams, and
Oh,
he
hi,
he
David.
sent me an email and basically said, he checked out that web apps aren't tech post that we talked about, and he had a post on Hacker News at the same time, was getting or a similar reaction. It was called "Do Things That Don't Require Scale."
Mm-hmm.
It's kind of based on Paul Graham's "Do Things That Don't Scale," except he's saying even beyond that, you need to think like, does the bigger thing you want to get done even make sense if you don't have a lot of scale?
Yeah.
So then I saw Alpine Toolbox. I don't know if you've heard of
Wait,
that.
you didn't read out. So that was what he said in his email. Just about
Yeah,
that. That
yeah.
was
I
it.
just gave a quick synopsis.
He didn't say that it was a great show and that he really likes us. And
He did say well, let's see. Really enjoyed reading. Oh, actually, maybe he
listen to the latest
maybe he
episode.
just.
Reacted today. Really enjoying the show. Yes, nice. Love it. Thank you,
Oh, there
David.
we go. Really enjoying the show. Okay, I didn't even notice that. I just noticed that he liked my blog post. But I did tell him, thanks so much for the kind words. By the way, we have comments on the site, and Justin would love to see stuff like this too. So if you want, sign up at this link, copy paste this email in. We'll see if that happens.
Nice.
Um,
I do think I know David Williams, or I've heard of him. I think he's in the Nugget orbit, possibly. I think I've
okay,
seen his
that would
name
make
before.
sense.
Yeah.
Um, anyway, I found this Alpine toolbox, which has like a whole bunch of things for learning Alpine JS and starter kits and stuff like that, which led me to discover an open source view. No, sorry. So led me to
Tailwind.
believe an open source Tailwind utility setup. Kind of, it's maybe sort of like Tailwind UI, except it's open source.
Hmm.
And based on the license, I could use some of this with attribution for Phoenix Igniter. Not
Ooh.
sure if I want to do that or not, but I'm kind of
Can't
intrigued
you
by
do
the
that with
possibility.
Tailwind?
Because Tailwind UI is a paid service.
Do you already pay for it, though? You've already paid for it, haven't you?
I paid for it, but I can't ship its code to other people that I charge money for.
Are you sure? That doesn't
Yeah,
make
I'm sure.
sense.
I'm sure that's not the license specifically says like you may use this in your own project, but for like unless you get like some enterprise version license, you can't use this and compete with us and just turn it around and sell it because
Well, that's not
otherwise you
competing with them.
sure it is.
Oh, because Phoenix Igniter is that kind of a tool. Yep,
It's
yep, yep.
going to have it's going to have Tailwind
Yeah,
components.
sorry. Phoenix.
Yeah,
I forgot. Phoenix Igniter is not a finished product. It's a product that you build with. So yeah, yeah, it is.
yeah. I mean,
Yep.
otherwise someone could just like take it, like just remove, basically just take the assets folder out of the Phoenix project,
Mhm.
and then they have Tailwind UI, and maybe I sell it for half the price they do. Like that's the
Okay.
the
Yeah.
kind of risk. Oh, I think your microphone is out again, and I think you just touched it. So anyway, this Cuddy toolkit looks interesting because it's like Tailwind UI, but it's open source and just an attribution license.
Yeah.
Other thing I found, which really excites me for Igniter,
Okay.
is Render, which is that hosting service that I'm a big fan of. It's kind of like a modern Heroku.
Yeah.
It's not hasn't been acquired by Salesforce. It's not horrendously expensive. It's still easy to use. Run by the person who made a lot of Stripe's infrastructure, like their higher number 7 or 8.
Okay.
They've made a deploy to render button. I can make
Ooh.
that a feature of Phoenix Igniter. And deployment is one of the things that I get the most questions about. There's nothing uniquely difficult about doing it in Elixir, but a lot of people, they see a lot of different ways it can be done, and as a result, kind of end up in this, this
So
struggle scenario.
it means that they're essentially choosing render as the host.
It's just like a
As-
deploy to Heroku button that you can see on GitHub sometimes.
yeah, yeah. But what I'm saying is, it means that and it's. I'm not saying this is a negative. I'm just clarifying. It means that if they do that, they have to sign up for a render account. They're becoming a render customer, and
Sure,
then
sure.
they
Yeah.
click the button, and then it's deploying to their render. Got it. Yeah,
Yeah.
and that's
Yeah.
they can be their hosting provider.
Yeah. But one click deploy, like that's
Awesome.
yeah, that's something a lot of people want. And people who don't want render or people who want a specific thing often know how to deploy it already.
Okay.
So that has been super motivating.
Cool.
New Humble bundle came out. It's like more no starch press stuff. I guess I don't have it open. Well, oh yeah, here we go. Learn to code the fun way. This just blows me away because I've bought like 3 or 4 Humble bundles for programming books.
Mm-hmm.
It's like Land of Lisp. Like I love that book. I thought that was great. That's like for $8 plus all these other books and plus all of these. And you could just get these for $1. And of all the technical book publishers, I think No Starch is actually the best one. So it's like top tier content, $1 for all of that, 8 for that, pay $15, and you get total of like 19 books.
Wow.
Yeah. It's that's the kind of thing where I just instantly buy it if I see that.
If Hemingway wrote JavaScript.
No, I'm not familiar with that one.
Looks
Hemingway
cool.
wrote JavaScript. Oh dear. Okay, I
That looks like
I'm not sure if I'll actually read that one, but yeah, it's a thing. So the Twitter disagreement, or the disagreement I saw about Twitter on Indie Hackers.
Oh, it's
If
audience.
you could only choose one, if you could only choose to grow one, which would you focus on? People like Daniel Vasallo say Twitter is best, while others like Sam Parr say email is best because you control your audience. And top thing is Alex again, who's the one that was talking to Justin
Alex.
Jackson, whose tweet you you are interested in, says email by a long shot. Don't build your house on rented land. Don't let algorithms decide who gets to see your message and when. And nobody, including people like Daniel, can consistently see 10% follower sale conversion rates, but it's totally achievable and repeatable with an email list built by e-bombs. And that's a concept in his program 30 by 500 that's about how how to kind of bomb someone's inbox with educational content that makes them a loyal reader. And then Daniel himself responded to it saying, I had 9,200 sales in 9 months from 46K Twitter followers. So about 20% conversion in my case, about $4.78 per follower, like Twitter follower, in net profit from 2 products. More details here, which I'm sure will sell even more of his Twitter course.
Yeah,
so
but
what are your thoughts?
Well, my thoughts are that that the reason why Alex is right about this, and Daniel is not right, is because email is a general case sales channel, whereas Twitter is a great sales channel for selling Twitter stuff. So Daniel has great results because he's selling a Twitter course about how to grow Twitter followers by growing Twitter followers. So the whole thing is very enmeshed, and it's very well. But if I was growing, I don't know, Nugget, I wouldn't have anywhere near the level of conversions that he's got there, because
to be fair, the thing that launched it all was not his Twitter course; it was his course on AWS stuff.
Well, how much did that sell? Go and have a look in that post.
Sure. He used to work at Amazon for quite a while. So like what built his initial Twitter following was talking about leaving his job at, after working at like Amazon for like 7 or 8 years or something. The good parts of AWS. So a big PDF. And then
okay, so let's have a look at
Twitter.
Let's look at the breakdown.
Okay, there we go. So it looks like which is which? Sales, profit. Oh,
He's merged them into one. He's not.
Oh, he's got a separate chart for each.
So good parts of AWS.
Looks like 110, 108 or something like that. And Twitter. Wait a second. Income, all products.
But that's also confusing
I need to scroll down further.
It looks confusing.
It's about half and half. I just didn't scroll down far enough.
That's like, how from a single Twitter account does he sell to 2 different markets? Or does he have 2 different Twitter accounts?
No, he just has one Twitter account, but he has a ton of followers. So I think he got a ton of followers, and then he started selling his AWS course, and then that got him even more followers. And then for those followers, maybe they weren't specifically interested in Twitter, but they had seen what he just did on Twitter. So, and they're on Twitter themselves. So it seemed like a reasonable next product. I could totally imagine him selling like another thing about how to use Gumroad. Oh, wait, no, because Gumroad hired him. If that hadn't happened, then I could totally imagine he'd make like a third course about selling stuff on Gumroad. But
I do like to be corrected, and I do like my mind being changed, but still, I don't know. Now I want to buy his Twitter course.
There you go. My work here is done.
Just be like, okay, all right. How did you do that? I want to know more about that. So that's kind of interesting. Yeah.
The comment that I should have voted up, I forgot to, that I thought was really interesting was someone whose name I can't pronounce said, for me, this depends on the product. For B2B and any product that needs continued engagement, email by a long shot. For most engaged customers, we often find even move to higher touch platforms such as WhatsApp and Skype. But for B2C one-time sales, I've seen Twitter work very well due to the built-in virality. People retweet much more easily than they forward emails. And so this to me seems like he's basically saying this, the thing I'd noticed, which is a lot of people like Adam Wathan will just, go straight from Twitter to Gumroad.
Mm-hmm.
Do a one-time sale.
Yeah. Yeah, that's good. I was thinking that maybe I should turn the whole Nugget thing into a book, into a PDF.
It doesn't hurt. I mean, you could even just put a lot of it on like in an ebook for free on Amazon, and use that as like an email sign up leader.
Interesting, yeah.
Or a lead magnet.
A lead magnet, yeah.
Yeah. I actually did agree with Alex though, because Daniel did amazingly well with Twitter, but I read a whole bunch of stories of people that did that with Facebook pages, and then all of a sudden the Facebook pages no longer got traffic.
Well, I don't think that's connecting two things. That seems like some kind of logical fallacy. I can't remember what the name of it is, but it's you're connecting one. Like, I don't think Facebook's failure connects with Twitter's failure.
Well, they're both social networks, and they're both making their money through advertising. And Facebook had an incentive to make you spend advertising money, and stop giving you free organic access to pages.
But he's not spending advertising money. There was barely any advertising money spent on the graphs he just showed.
Right. Because Twitter doesn't require much, or doesn't really require advertising to get distribution. Organic distribution's really good still, whereas Facebook pages, it used to be really good, and now it's horrible. Now you have to spend on it. So if say Twitter got a new CEO or got like a new strategy, or had some financial issues, they very well could make a higher portion of what shows up in the feed promoted, or make more ways of promoting without it being like purely ads. Like maybe you could pay to have everything in your feed show up more, and the people who don't pay would the best stuff would still make it, but they just get pushed down further. Kind of like Google keeps putting more and more and more ads at the top of searches.
Well, I do. That's sort of the two main points that Alex makes that I do agree with. Don't build your house on rented land. Don't let algorithms decide who get to see your message. So yeah, that's
kind of my concern.
Yeah.
I guess for me though, it's I would want to focus on the email list, but then also be on Twitter, because I do like the promise.
Yeah, no, that was good. That was good. You swung me both ways. I feel like I've been thrown around.
Well,
what do I believe? I don't know.
Just gotta keep talking then.
Yeah. So what else? So I should probably.
Yeah. How about your stuff? Yeah.
Yeah. So I have been working on Reactor. Well, first of all, just a quick update on Nugget. It's pretty much exactly the same. There's 377 people started the bootcamp now, with 3 sales. So it's just the inside of the funnel just needs to be fixed, and I'm going to do that with Mateo. But something else that's a little bit concerning is that it's got a 12% completion rate, and I think that's pretty definitive at this point. There hasn't been enough people going through.
It's 2% better than before.
It is 2% better than before, but the Startup Academy itself has a 50% completion rate. And I know that the average completion rate around the internet is like 5% to be a good completion rate. But 12% is better than that, but I'm used to 50%. So I really want to push it up higher. And I know the reason why it's 50% in the Startup Academy is because of the way that Laura, who was an instructional designer, I consulted with her. And she basically she said, look, you've got to do it like a page of content, then a page of doing, then a page of content, then a page of doing, and then a discussion. So I might do a little bit more of that potentially. But before I do that, the first thing I'm going to do is that interview with Mateo once he's got some more sales under his belt.
I'd be interested in hearing how the changes improve the completion rate, because my free email sign up course is getting me email signups. It's getting me a few more than I would have without that. But people aren't, very few people are actually completing the free course.
Yeah, I got a great on Indie Hackers. Someone said I've just been posting a few random things on Indie Hackers, just following it, and if I see something relevant. So, for example, some people say I need to make a logo, and then I'll send them a page to my lesson on how to make a logo. Anyway, someone said, "Hey, you do Nugget, right? Oh man, I love that bootcamp. Like that is my North Star. I have read that 2 times, best content I've ever read.
Nice.
Yeah. So that was cool. Yeah. Okay. So on to the game. So with Slider, the goal was to basically plug in data storage, database storage, and enable you to level up. Well, I did plug in database storage, and I used a third-party person's library because it had. There's all sorts of interesting things that Roblox, that environment, creates. Like one of the things that the kids, because it's like with a web browser, you can open up the console and start hacking it.
Yeah.
So you can do that with Roblox, basically. So kids can start hacking the actual game and do anything that's on the client side is fair game. So what you have to do is, as I've got people running around the little slider pieces, I give them XP for everyone that they touch. Now, I've got the exact same algorithm running on the client, because you saw that tweet I did.
Yeah.
Basically, it's two clients. It's like having a client as a server. So the client is the server and the client is the client. But when their character is running on the server, that's the one that attributes the XP. And when they're running on the client, it doesn't. So basically, all the database stuff is done there. But they can do things like, for example, tweak their character on the front end to move to a certain place, and that will move them on the server.
Oh, the server respects that.
Yeah, the server respects that.
Can you control that, or is that just
you
how
can't
it is?
Control it? That's just how it is. So you have to do things like look, like, okay, did they just move a ridiculously far? like is that possible? What just happened?
This is actually making me a lot more bullish about Roblox. Like, this is going to teach kids how to program. So many games did that when I was little, and then later everything became locked down. But I guess this is a pretty open one.
So many kids program that I can't believe how. So like literally millions of kids are building games on Roblox, and they're building games, and I just can't believe it. I mean, I'm building a game on Roblox, and I'm finding it difficult. But I guess
to keep up with them.
I guess because I'm using all of my 30 years of programming principles and experience and design and trying to put that in Roblox, that is definitely not designed for that. So Roblox is designed to, if you have a wall that kills someone, you basically add the wall into the game by dragging and dropping a part, and then you click on the wall in the game, and then you say add script, and the script is then attached to the wall. So in the Explorer, it looks like a big file system that's completely higgledy-piggledy with like thousands of different trees and branches of all the different shit that's going on. And your scripts are everywhere. Like, how do you even find a script? Like, they're all different. So
as you said before, this sounds like Flash.
Yeah, it sounds like Flash. So what I'm doing is I'm just putting no scripts anywhere other than in one centralized script folder. But I'm fighting hard with Roblox to make that happen. It's like I'm really, really trying to make this organized.
Trying to organize it.
And connected, and it's very interesting. In fact, in some ways, it's easier for a kid to open up like the console and start messing with your code than it is to actually create code and make it talk to each other inside the real coding environment. Because
that makes sense. Yeah.
Because the real coding environment is everything doesn't talk to each other. It's difficult to make a whole bunch of modules that talk to each other. Anyway,
wait, how about the database though? Like, how does that work? Like, where do they host it? Are there choices?
There's no choices. They host it. There's a couple of so that's what I was saying. So I'm using this third-party library. So what they do is they do a thing called session locking, which essentially, which is just, you'll probably you know what session locking is, right? It just means that when someone logs in from one session to another, it takes over there. So if they don't do session locking, then the hackers can basically do things like create unlimited resources and replicate code. So there's a lot of trading games. So there's a lot of exploits on YouTube where go into this game, you can create 1 million different marshmallows.
That's why there's so much of it. Oh my gosh.
Okay. And so I thought, okay, I'll use this library just to at least stop the session locking stuff. And there's a lot of edge cases that the library's thought through. So that was pretty good. I plugged in, but it's weird. It's very strange because don't have to do any saving or anything like that. I just basically load the variables from the database, which is basically no SQL JSON, by the way. So
Okay.
I mean, we don't see that in Lua. All we see is just variables, you know. So basically, I load the data in, I tweak, I guess like a multi-dimensional array, just change the data, and that's it. I don't have to save. I don't have to do anything. I just change the data, and then that data then ends up in the database because his library basically monitors events for when it's changed and just pushes it as it's required. So that's kind of interesting, you know,
Yeah.
and I have plugged that in, and I have plugged in a function that knows what level you're on. But what I haven't done is I haven't plugged it all together. So I do need to plug the unlocking. I got a bit sidetracked because I started with an intro screen.
Mm-hmm.
And I we came up with a company name and a company logo. Well, I should say but
Okay.
what happened was I went to Vector Stock and found like 50 different cool logo ideas, all sorts of different gaming ideas, cool animals, weird stuff, or interesting stuff, and then showed them to Jack and said, okay, you pick a logo. And he looked at the page and he went straight for one. It was like, he was that one. And it was like the least cartoonish, the most just classic looking like just a badass gaming company logo. I'm like, okay. So I did that. So then I put it in the game and on a black screen and realized, you know what this needs? This needs like a Batman, like when Batman starts, like a big thud. Like a
Oh, okay. That's cool.
so then I started down that route, and then that sort of started taking the game in a different vibe feeling. And so now it does that. It has a black screen. It does like, you know, do you remember, you've seen Blade Runner, right?
Yes, a long time ago.
Do you remember when he's saying to the computer, enhance, you know,
I
like the
don't.
picture? No, okay. Well,
I remember seeing that in CSI or something, but
okay. So like typing goes across the screen and it makes this little like
okay.
futuristic typing noise and George is going to be speaking over that. And then there's this really cool kind of sound, and then it just goes into the world, and then it starts with this really funky music. And what I did was I did this effect where I tracked the beat, the drum beat, the doom doom doom,
Uh-huh.
and then I make the camera like instantaneously like zoom in like this. So the whole screen,
Oh my gosh.
the screen is like that. So so the whole screen is like just like a split second it magnifies, you know, so it gives you that beat vibe. Anyway, it's very, very cool.
So
And
the intro scene's taking over the design of the rest of the game.
pretty much. But yeah, it's I'm getting more excited about it. I'm getting more excited.
Are you still going to be able to ship it like as
15th,
quickly now that you're changing stuff? Yeah.
15th of October. That's my stretch goal. 2 weeks,
Your
but we'll
stretch
see.
goal. Okay.
We'll
Okay.
see. I don't know.
Oh gosh. Every time we have a talk, he'll be like, "Oh yeah. I'm going to ship it in 2 weeks."
Like Jason, right?
It's perpetual 2 weeks. It's like a lot of people. I think that's kind of the project management curse.
Well, also, you going what?
Yeah, I'm curious to see this environment. I feel like a lot would be familiar to me. Like I started programming on Flash.
Yeah.
JavaScript is a lot like Lua.
Yeah.
I think like it sounds like the database is a lot like old school Meteor.js with Mini Mongo. So
Yeah.
I don't know, but
Oh, it's a great environment.
I'm going to resist. I'm going to resist though until you do really well. Then I'll start playing around with it.
I forgot to tell you one nice thing about the environment, which is very, very strange as well, is the entire IDE is like Etherpad, but for the whole game. So
what's Etherpad?
It's like one of those coding environments where it's real time shared. So you can have 5 people coding at the same time, all connected in the game, in the studio.
Wow. Okay.
So you see other people coding stuff and moving stuff around. So like if you're looking in the stage, so imagine Flash, you're looking in the stage, and just little components are moving around and changing, and people are doing stuff to it.
That's wild. Okay.
And in the script, it's crazy. It's like the whole thing it's very, very cool and interesting.
It sounds well. Okay, yeah. So it sounds really cool and interesting, but also like it could be a horrible working environment.
Uh, Potentially, well, especially because like, so I'm coding with this guy who I've hired, and so I'm trying to like, do something like, I don't know, go into a certain part of the world, but he's working on a like a UI stuff. So all of a sudden, the UI flashes up on the whole screen, which is like the level list, and now you can't see anything else apart from the game. So like, it's like completely stops me from being able to do anything inside the game,
Yeah, it's like
unless
instead of
unless I go and go click on that component and say not visible, and then I can, and now I
you
can
can hide the components from
I
each
can,
other.
yeah. So it's a game in its own right.
Yeah, this is like the opposite of how I learned to pair program. Like instead of two monitors, one keyboard, this is like two keyboards, one shared screen.
Yeah. Now, to be fair, it doesn't do that in the actual script itself. It just does that in the game. But it does.
Okay.
It does sort of. I think it does say something like. I think it locks the script. It
You
says.
can't just edit adjacent
I
lines
think it
of
says,
code.
yeah. He's editing this script. You can't edit it until he's done. Yeah.
That's a reasonable thing, I guess.
Yeah.
Wow. Well, I am still psyched to see it. I think I think this is just one of those things I could see doing really well, or not. It's hard to tell at this point, but it's exciting.
The goal. I mean, the base goal is to make make back the money that I spent on the dev guide.
Yeah.
The happy goal is to make. When I walked into this, I was thinking, I want this to make about $100,000 a year.
For how many years?
For a couple of years, like two, because I'm just looking at past different games performance, like games that are already on there, how they've done.
Wow.
And so I want to be one of those, one of those games that sort of always has about 500 people playing it, and then it makes about $100,000 a year, 500 to 1,000 people playing it at any one time. But it could be more, I'm starting to think it could be more.
Yeah, I mean, I think this kind of market, it's a power law distribution. So it's just like if you went on the App Store, relying on them for distribution really early when that was kind of viable, like 2010 or something. So I think your odds of hitting the happy goal are definitely lower than they would be on some other platforms, but your odds of 10xing it are maybe not even that much lower than hitting it. So
so here's the thing. They always have advertising where you can basically push your game, and it's hard to determine if it's really an ad or not. So on their main front page, ad slot number 4 can be an ad, and there can be some ads around the place. So you could just keep on going in once a month or once every week and pushing it on that page for a couple of hours. That gets a new batch of kids in who tell their friends. So it's sort of like you know what I'm saying? It's like it's not like you just push it once and then you just hope for it. If it's a good game,
updating the game too.
If it has some that's the ones who are on the front page all the time, they keep updating it. But I mean, the level of money that those guys are making is very significant.
Yeah. As I said, power law distribution. Yeah. Well, good luck.
We'll see what happens.
Yeah. Is that going to be your main focus this coming week again?
Yeah, I'm more focused. I mean, I'm also focused on work on the day job, of course. But
of course.
My side, I think for my side project is going to be that, just to push more, to get more done on the slider stuff. Yeah, I want to get it to a point where I feel comfortable to show it to people.
You don't now?
Well, I don't, from the point of view of, I feel like I don't have enough of a lead over what like a really good Roblox coder could do. So I just want to get to a point where I have enough of a lead and I can kind of launch it so that, I feel like it is a bit of a competitive environment. I mean, people rip off games all the time. Like that does happen a lot.
Yeah.
I mean, I've seen it. I see it every day.
So you're mostly worried about competitors seeing it.
Yeah, it's like the first time I've really needed to worry about competition.
Yeah, I can't say disagree. That's a tough one. I mean, my inclination is just like I just get something out there, but my whole strategy would have been, spend almost nothing, get something out there that's like, 2.2 star material, and then lessons learned, and then make something else pretty quickly that's a bit better.
Which is pretty much what I teach in the academy and sort of what I'm not doing in this case. So that sucks. But I did start off with that intention, but it just, I don't know. The game just seemed, I could show you the evolution and you'll see how it ended up where it is.
Yeah, I mean, you've been showing a bit here and there, like as we talk. I think the thing I would worry about though would be if you go even deeper down that, because the more time you spend, the more money you've spent, and the more investment it is, and the more embarrassing, the more unpleasant it would be for it not to go well,
Hmm.
which will lead you to shoot for even a higher level. And I think that could be a negative spiral pretty quickly.
Mm. Yeah, I agree. I think I
I
agree
think
with that.
I mean, like this level is probably not a waste. It's better in different ways than the really quick one is.
Yeah.
But,
Okay. Thanks.
yeah.
That's
Well,
my goal.
good luck with it. um, I guess from any other goals, or is it just basically those two?
To do, I guess to do like 15 minutes exercise every day.
Cool.
There we go. Yeah.
Yeah, I've been doing pretty well in exercise. I've made it out 5 times this past week.
Okay.
Did have like one birthday party, but was
Uh-oh.
really good on diet. Most days fasted a day and a half. So I've been good on the diet, good on the exercise. This coming week, I'm not going to be able to fast because I have 3 separate barbecues I've been invited to,
Oh
because
my
it's
gosh.
that time of year. It's Mid Autumn Festival, so yeah, no fasting. I'm gonna try to exercise a bit. I also added a health goal,
Okay.
not a goal, but just a new tactic, and that is I'm going to participate in the Sober October. Although I've rebranded mine Awesome October. I don't think beer contributes that many calories to like what I've been getting, like not enough to have any real impact on the diet, but it almost always leads me to overeat. And
Yeah,
then
exactly.
sometimes it leads me to like miss the next day, like not exercise the next day, or just have some diet reset or something. And maybe even if it's just eliminating 2 times a month, like maybe that's still going to have a significant effect. So um, I'm going to basically do that, and try to stay reasonable on everything else, still exercise, but no fasting this week.
Okay.
Then business goals. Five screencasts is too much. Like I don't think I can do that. I may get the 5th one before I sleep done tonight for the last week, but I'm just going to aim for 4 screencasts this week. That's the only goal on the business side. I will probably keep doing some stuff on Phoenix Igniter, but I'm not, not focusing on it yet.
Yeah.
I'll probably focus on it, as I said, like the end of November.
Hmm. Nice.
So that's pretty much the whole deal.
That's very cool. All right. Good show. Let's wrap it up then.
I concur.
Okay. Nice.
All right. Till
All
next
right.
time.
See you next time.
Later.